is your host, Benjamin Saxton, and welcome to a Fighter's Chance podcast, where we give people in the combat sports world an opportunity to talk about the things worth fighting for. Today's guest was the King of the Cage flyweight champion, world fighting featherweight champion, coalition of combat champion, UFC bantamweight. He has a fight August 1st against Jonathan Martinez, UFC veteran Frankie Saenz. How are you doing?
Pretty good, Ben. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for taking the time and meeting with me. I know you have a fight coming up, so you're very busy, but it's exciting time, and I look forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, same here. It was funny, like you were talking about like King of the Cage, Coalition of Combat. I'm like, dude, those are ages ago. I think I don't even think Coalition of Combat is even an organization anymore. Like I was like, and that was at 145. That just brings back some memories.
It doesn't matter. You still won that championship, so it doesn't matter. They're here, there, a different name. You still did it, so I want to make sure you get credit for it.
Cool.
So you are taking this fight with Jonathan Martinez on a little bit shorter notice compared to a normal training camp. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Ideal camp is, I would say probably 6 to 8 weeks. I got this probably about 4 weeks. The good news is like he got it at the same time, so I'm not sure what he was up to, I'm sure he was training. I was training, it's kind of one of those things where my manager reached out to me a few months ago and said, hey man, when can you be ready for a fight? I said, hey, give me 6 to 8 weeks and I'll be ready for a fight. And, it was a little longer than that. And, kind of all the pandemic stuff and all that stuff happened. But meanwhile, I just kind of stayed in shape, stayed busy, stayed working, and just had my eye on a fight coming up sometime soon.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point that you guys are kind of on the same level playing field on a short-term, notice, if you will. And you can't control anybody else on the opposite side of you, but you can only control it, you can control. And, you know how your body feels, you know how your training camp's going, and if you're keeping yourself ready prior to even knowing you have a fight. So that's pretty cool. With the COVID breaking down, nutrition can kind of play a part into people staying in shape, whether it's physically, cardio, strength training. But maybe you could talk a little bit about how you've been maintaining your nutrition over this, last few months.
I just dialed it down, once I found out I had a fight, it was like, all right, what do I need to do? Probably about 2 months ago, well, maybe like 3 months ago now, I did a whole assessment, test, did my VO2 max, did a whole strength assessment, kind of did everything for my body just to prepare for a fight. And, dialing that all in and, all it said is like, hey, go on a diet, I got to get my cardio up to this, so, that was a good base for me to start. And since then, I've had a meal prep, like Monster Health and Wellness has really been helping me out. And it's just nice to have your meals prepared for you, 3 meals a day, couple snacks a day, where I don't have to do I don't have to be my own chef,
being your own chef can, it gives you the little freedom of you can decide what you want to eat. But I think that freedom comes with a negative, right? That time, you have to do all of that, the guilty pleasures that can kind of sneak into our life, whether it's healthy choices or not healthy, but that allows you to kind of take that time that you would have been spending on food and train, right?
Exactly. Like I was spending too much time just preparing my food, coming home from practice being like, all right, what am I going to eat? Okay, let me make this real quick. It's going to take 30 minutes, when I could have been already eating it at the gym, come home, take a little nap, a little rest, recover for the next session.
So those that don't know, Chef Frankie Saenz, if he was going to make something for himself that's going to taste good, what are you making yourself, healthy-wise?
If you're coming over and you're on a diet, you're getting salmon over here at my house. Salmon on the grill.
There you go. That's good. That's definitely a healthy choice. So maybe you could talk about your training camp, some of the managers or not managers, but coaches or the type of people that you've kind of brought in for this fight.
We've had a team like just last year. Our owner, Dave Zilline, brought in some coaches. We have a striking coach, Eddie Chaw, who I've bonded with, over the past year pretty well. Santino DeFranco has been here. He's a great mind. Alan Byers, a boxing coach who I've been working with, for quite some time now, but he's on full board over at Fight Ready. Angel Cejudo, a wrestling coach, and just, I've known him, I don't know, 20 years. But he's Henry Cejudo's brother and just a genius on the mat. And Chad Ike, strength and conditioning, who's just really just, changed my game and just got me healthy, for this fight, just strong.
Do you think you're with all these different pieces that you are, how you're evolving as a fighter? Each time you kind of train, you're kind of picking up different things.
Yeah, I think the difference with this camp is just having meeting every day. I mean, that's something that Dave coordinates with everybody. It's like we meet every Monday. These guys come in. I mean, even before this past year, like I've had such a long layoff, I wanted to just get in tune with all these coaches, being like, all right, we're hitting 2 practices a day. Like I'm hitting all these practices and stuff, just trying to find my way. Like even at 39, like I feel like I'm still evolving, as a fighter.
Yeah, that's great. And then did they coordinate that stuff with you prior? I mean, you said this is more recently where you've kind of had all of these different types of coaches kind of helping you, right? So is it kind of you're kind of showing up and then they're kind of coordinating that for you, saying, okay, we're doing striking, wrestling, and preparing for, Jonathan Martinez as well.
Yeah, we had our everyday practices, which are, 2 a day, a grappling practice, a striking practice, and then we have strength and conditioning on top of all that, which goes with our daily, our weekly schedule. But once you get into fight camp, like now it's more fight specific. Mm-hmm. And, with Dave bringing everybody together, on a daily basis, like, we meet every Monday, we have a meeting, we all watch film, we all kind of put in our 2 cents. Every coach is like, where am I during this fight camp? What do I need to work on? What am I doing well? And that's kind of how the week goes. We meet every Monday, and I think it's just getting the most out of every practice is the benefit, that I'm getting, for this camp. It's just every day I'm like, okay, I got better today, and I think that's the feeling you get, like that's just confidence.
Yeah.
And it's just confidence is building, for this fight. And I think with a fighter, preparation is the biggest thing. Knowing you're prepared, going into battle is half the battle.
Yeah. So your last, those that know you know that, or those that know you and those that may not know you, I mean, you are a veteran of the sport. You've had, this is going to be your 19th professional fight. I think either your 10th or your 11th UFC fight. So you're no stranger to the octagon. But you mentioned kind of watching tape. How much do you watch tape just on yourself and also your opponents that you're kind of coming at? Do you watch, break down their fights, kind of look at weaknesses, strengths? How much do you do of that?
Yeah, we watch a lot of film. I mean, It's just, it's something on there like, why would you not watch film?
Right.
I think a lot of fighters like, oh, I just go in and I fight. I don't care whatever. Like, dude, like, this is a full display of what this guy has, his strengths, his weaknesses, and be able to watch it with a team of guys, a striking specialist, a grappling specialist, boxing, like, and then them being able just to like break everything down. And everybody comes, with their own kind of 2 cents on, hey man, he does this, or, he does this, and we all collaborate. They're like, okay, that's a good plan. Let's go forward. This is what the week's going to look like.
Yes. So you had, I think your last fight was March of 2019. So a little bit of a layover, right, since your last fight. How are you feeling? I mean, you kind of had the fight in 19. Now you're 2020. The training camp's here, ready to go. We are like very close to fight night. How's the full body feeling? Mind, body?
I feel great, honestly. I know every fighter says that when they're about to come into a fight. It's like, dude, best I've ever felt. This is, whatever. But honestly, like I felt great. I really had to be just smarter about my training. Before I'm an old school guy that I would just grind and grind and grind. And, by the time the fight came, you got me at 70%,
Right.
75%, just because I'm broken down. But I think that's just, communicating with people, just being smart about training, talking to the PI, Roman over there at the UFC Performance Institute, like just, really, really talks about just recovery,
Yeah.
And just having that active recovery, and making sure like every day you're not just diminishing progress, going in every day beat up, is just not the way to do things. Like, you go in every day, you're rested, you're recovered, you get the most out of practice, and I think that makes for a good fight and a good fight camp.
Well, and that's the reason why I asked, because a lot of times fighters really aren't coming in at 100%, right? You're laboring at maybe an injury from your training camp, or obviously you're always sore, but generally fighters aren't 100%. So I mean, if you're coming in close to that, that's a dangerous thing for your opponent, right?
Yeah, I think I think what people don't understand is like the fight camp is just brutal.
Mm-hmm.
You got, you're in here training every day. You're trying to get better at different things. You're sparring. Me, I'll spar like 2 times a week. And you're coming in with guys that are fresh. We'll have one guy in. They'll bring another guy in for the next round. Another guy in for the next round. And those days just beat you down.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time the fight comes, you've been through all these practices, all these workouts and stuff, and there's no way you're going to be 100% by the end.
Right.
Of it.
So, your fight is, you've been training through COVID. You've been kind of staying on top of that, knowing that a fight was looming. You just didn't know when. You just had to be prepared for it. But you've also been kind of managing at a gym, right?
Yeah, I'm a manager over at Fight Ready. And interesting times we're living in right now. Like currently, Governor Doug Ducey of Arizona shut us down again. We'll be shut down again for another couple of weeks. But I'm excited about the future of our gym. Opening back up, and really I'm really looking forward to just having classes. We haven't had classes in months.
Okay.
We've had classes, but it's just like we've ran a real limited schedule. Social distancing,
right,
keeping the numbers down. But I think everybody's ready just to come back and get life back to normal.
Those that don't know about the gym, maybe you can talk about some of the classes that you guys do teach. So if they want to check it out, they can come see you.
Oh yeah, we're out in Scottsdale, Arizona. Fight Ready MMA and Fitness. We're a full martial arts studio. We have a kickboxing, any kind of striking. We have kids programs, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, strength and conditioning. Like we have a beautiful facility. I mean, we got a full cage. We got a sauna in each restroom.
Nice.
I mean, it's just a beautiful place, and it's definitely a family atmosphere. And a lot of the members, we call family.
That's great. Those that are going to tune into the fight, tune in, see Frankie's fight. He's the last fight on the prelim card right before the main event starts, so don't miss it. It's going to be an exciting one. I appreciate you taking the time. Check out your gym if you're out in Scottsdale. Go check it out. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you get in there, you make quick work of them, and you're on to the next one.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Ben. And this is the fun part.
Yeah.
Preparation's over. I can't wait till August 1st until it's showtime.